Sex and money are two fundamental realities of life on earth that human beings have a tremendous amount of difficulty with. Sexual development and wealth are very big problems because historically they have both been condemned as two roots of evil. Sex without marriage is considered evil. Money itself in the Bible and in the human history is considered the root of all evil. And both of these realities, sex and money, are needs of the human, of the soul, to survive on earth and to thrive. Sex is not just for babies, it's for the growth of the soul towards adulthood. Sex comes out in the teenage years. It's a need. It's not a caprice. Sex is very complicated because there's different kinds of sex. Okay? We have the word love to include everything. I love somebody. It means 1,000 different things. I can love somebody because they're smart. I can love somebody because I connect with their emotions. I love them emotionally. I can love somebody because I have pleasure. I have passion for them. They're beautiful. They're attractive. They wear beautiful clothing. There's a sexual attraction there. There's also a power sex attraction. There is sex for power. There's sex that gives people power, not just love, which basically feeds the emotions. Sex can empower the dark side of life, which is the ego, which can exist in any of the four faculties. And sex can empower the soul, which is the objective of life evolution, that sex should empower the soul. Sex is something that never dies until the end of our life. Sex is a power. It's a developer. It's a developer of the physique to make a boy into a man or a girl into a woman. Sex is a power. It helps. It involves animal growth, which is pleasure and a sense of joy of the senses. It's a personality. Pleasure is important for the soul. A lot of pleasure for the soul is good. A soul that doesn't have much pleasure wants to die. It gets depressed and wants to die. There's, of course, the traditional sex for emotions. But often this is an exchange. A woman is looking for emotional sex when often the man wants passionate sex and power sex in exchange. Men who are open emotionally for sex are rare. We don't train men to be emotionally open. We train men to be strong and emotionally closed. Why is our society so problematic with mental defects? A lot of it has to do with sexual development. Whenever the need for sex arises in a teenager, it's not an accident, okay? The teenager wants sex because it's going to help. Good sex is going to help the teenager become an adult. Sex is a kind of fuel. It's a catalyst to grow a man or a woman. We don't understand this in our human society. We actually seriously prevent any kind of sex in teenagers, even if it's protected, which means if there's contraceptive or if there's abortion, and we prevent any kind of birth, which we should prevent any kind of birth when a person is less than like 24 years old. It's crazy to have a child when you're 18 because you're a child yourself. Sex is usually tied with marriage, especially for women. Women have been forged for centuries or millenniums that sex for them means that the man must marry them or they are a whore or they're a putana. They're a slut. All right. There is no such sense in a man. A man can have 10, 20 lovers. He's a hero. He's a Napoleon. He's an Alexander the Great because he's conquered 20 women. Not so for a woman. The first man she allows inside her vagina, she must marry. And she's driven to make children immediately, which is a flaw because a woman has a life outside of family. A woman has a life outside of children. She has interests. She has a career. She could also experiment with men in order to find out what is a good man for her, what is a bad man for her. She needs to experiment. This whole idea of forbidding women to have sex and for them to be virgins at their marriage has really screwed up our whole species. Sex has to become open. We have to understand that there's three kinds of sex. There's emotional sex, there's animal sex, there's power sex. And all these are required for the soul. The soul needs all these things. Love is not everything. The Beatles were wrong. Love is not the answer to everything. We need pleasure. We need power. We need money. We need a house. Okay? We need a car and gasoline. Love is not the answer to everything. Love is only part of life. Sex and money are very important entities that do not negate love, but enrich love. It is a love that is enlightened, that includes pleasure and that includes power.